Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into something I know a lot of you have been asking about, building a fulfilling career in Scrum. And to help us unpack this, we're diving into Dejan Moshkich's course, Turning Vision into a Fulfilling Scrum Career. Now, I know what you might be thinking, another Scrum course, but trust me, this one's different. It's not just about like learning all the mechanics and the, ins and outs of Scrum. It's really about figuring out if it actually aligns with your goals, with who you want to be in the world. And Marskich starts off with a really interesting point. He says that, most of us focus on our working life, what we get paid to do. But what if we shifted our perspective and thought about our life's work instead? And he uses these fascinating examples from history. People like Joseph, Esther, Nehemiah, and Daniel. They all excelled in their given roles, right? But they also used those roles to achieve something much greater, something that rippled out and impacted the world around them. And it got me thinking, what if our jobs weren't just about earning a paycheck?
but about making a real lasting contribution,
Mhm.
you know? And here's the thing about purpose. Majikic says you don't just decide on it, you actually uncover it through action. So even if you're not in your dream job right now, by excelling at what you're currently doing, you might surprise yourself. You might discover hidden talents and passions that point you in the right direction. He also has this really thought-provoking take on what a career actually is. And it's not just about like climbing the ladder or chasing a bigger salary. He says it's about mastering a set of skills and using those skills to create real value for others. And that value, he says, becomes the vehicle that helps you achieve your vision in life. Hmm. Makes you think, right. But he doesn't stop there. He breaks down this whole value thing into four distinct levels. So first there's implementation, where you're essentially trading your time and effort for money. Then you've got unification, where you're managing people or projects, bringing things together. Above that is communication, where you're influencing others, generating cash flow through your ideas.
And at the very top, you have imagination, where you're using your mind to create wealth and impact at a much larger scale. And it's a pretty powerful framework for thinking about where you want to be in the grand scheme of things. Are you content with just implementing? Or do you aspire to something more? Do you want to unify, communicate, or maybe even imagine your way to success? And this is where things get really interesting. Mashinkich throws out this question that just stopped me in my tracks. He asks, what does the last chapter of your book look like? What legacy do you want to leave behind? He's challenging us to think long term, to consider the end goal, the ultimate vision we're working towards. And then he asks, is Scrum the vehicle that can take you there? And to help you answer that question, he suggests using what he calls the be-do-have model. So you start by envisioning who you want to become in the future. Then you think about what you'll need to do to become that person. And finally, you consider what you will have as a result of achieving that vision. So it's like working backwards from your ideal future self. And it can really help you make choices today that align with where you want to be down the line. Now, Manjavikic also brings in a spiritual element, which I know might resonate with some of you more than others. He talks about partnering with God for career success, about seeing your work as a way to make a positive impact on the world. Maybe even bring about some, as he puts it, divine intervention. He has this idea that God wants to work through us, to use our skills and talents to achieve his purposes. And he outlines what he calls the 4 A's of God's career plan: access, agency, advertisement, and acquisition. Basically, it's about seeing your career as more than just a job, but as a platform to reflect your values and make a difference. But here's the thing. It's not just about what God wants. It's also about what you want. And Majiakich is really big on clarifying your personal definition of success. And to do that, he uses what he calls the 4 I's of career success: identity, income, influence, and independence. So let's break those down a bit. Identity is all about your personal brand, how you want to be perceived in the world, what kind of reputation do you want to build, what values and skills do you want to be known for. Income, well, that's pretty self-explanatory, but it's not just about earning a lot of money. It's about having that financial abundance and freedom to pursue your passions and live life on your own terms. Influence is about having a seat at the table, being in a position to shape decisions and drive change. It's about making a real impact on the world around you. And finally, independence is about having the freedom to choose how you spend your time, where you work, and how you express yourself. It's about having autonomy and control over your own life. Now, you might be wondering, can a Scrum career actually deliver on all these I's? Well, that's what we're going to explore next. Okay, so we've been talking about these 4 I's of career success: identity, income, influence, and independence. And the big question is, can a career in Scrum actually deliver on these? I mean, can it really give you all of those things? Well, let's think about it for a second. Let's take product owners, for example. They have, a direct hand in shaping products that can potentially reach millions of users. That's huge, right? That's a massive amount of influence and a real opportunity to build a strong personal brand to really make your mark. And then you've got Scrum Masters who are all about transforming team dynamics and creating a more, positive and productive work environment. They're like the facilitators, the coaches, the ones who help teams really reach their full potential. And that's real leadership in action. And it can have like a ripple effect throughout an entire organization. So both roles, product owner and Scrum Master, they have the potential for high income, especially as you gain experience and expertise. And they often come with flexible work arrangements, giving you more independence and control over your schedule and lifestyle. So yeah, I'd say a Scrum career can definitely tick a lot of those eye boxes. But here's a question that I bet is on your mind. Is Scrum future-proof? Will it still be relevant in 5, 10, even 20 years? I mean, technology is evolving so rapidly, who knows what the future holds, right? But Maciej makes a pretty compelling argument that Scrum is here to stay. He points to its adaptability. Scrum is a framework. It's not like a rigid set of rules, which means it can evolve. It can integrate new technologies and approaches as they emerge. So think about things like AI integration or scaled agile frameworks. And the growing demand for Scrum expertise across diverse industries, these are all signs that Scrum is not going anywhere anytime soon. But of course, every field has its challenges, and Scrum is no exception. And Maciej doesn't shy away from discussing the potential risks, like things like automation, the need to constantly upskill, and competition from other agile methodologies. But what I think is really valuable is that he doesn't just present these risks as doom and gloom scenarios. He frames them as opportunities for growth and adaptation. So by understanding the potential challenges, we can actually prepare for them. We can stay ahead of the curve and make sure that our skills remain relevant and in demand. And this is where he introduces a concept that I found really powerful, and he calls it prophetic preparation. It's not about predicting the future. It's about anticipating it. He uses this really fascinating analogy of Joseph in the Bible, who anticipated the coming famine and prepared accordingly, and ultimately ended up saving countless lives. So the same way, Maciej argues that we need to be prepared today for the opportunities that are coming our way in the future. We need to look at the trends, the emerging technologies, and equip ourselves with the skills and knowledge that will be in demand. So how do we actually do that? How do we become those top 10% performers who are not just surviving but thriving in the future of Scrum? Well, Maciej breaks it down into 4 key skill sets that he believes are essential for anyone who wants to reach that level of mastery. So we've got interpersonal, commercial, and technical. Now let's start with interpersonal skills. These are all about self-mastery, managing your emotions, cultivating a positive mindset, developing the resilience to bounce back from setbacks. It's about having that inner strength to lead effectively even when things get tough. Then there are interpersonal skills, which are all about how you connect with others. So communication, conflict resolution, building rapport, inspiring teamwork. These skills are crucial for creating a harmonious and productive work environment.
Whether you're a Scrum Master or a product owner. Next up are commercial skills. And these are all about understanding the business side of things, financial intelligence, market awareness, and the ability to make strategic decisions that drive results. You need to understand how your role fits into the bigger picture of the organization's goals. And then finally, we have the technical skills, which are obviously essential for any Scrum professional. You need to have a deep understanding of Scrum principles and practices, and you need to stay up to date with the latest tools and technologies. Maciej stresses that you can't just coast on your existing knowledge. The world of Scrum is constantly evolving, so you need to be a lifelong learner, always seeking out new information, honing your craft. But here's the thing, no one is going to force you to grow. It's up to you, all you, to invest in yourself, to carve out the time and energy to become the best version of you. And that might mean, taking courses, attending workshops, reading books, or even just experimenting with new tools and techniques on your own. Remember, we talked earlier about the language of your next level.
Well, Maciej had a great analogy for this. He compared a career to the defense of a city in ancient times. The gates of the city represent access to the industry, getting your foot in the door. But then there's the palace, which symbolizes power and influence. And Maciej's point is, God doesn't just want us to get through the gates. He wants us to aim for the palace, to step into leadership and make a real impact. And to do that, we need to master the language of that next level. So the vocabulary, the communication style, even the dress code of those who are already thriving in those positions. It's not about faking it. It's about preparing to own it. So we've talked about the skills we need to develop, but what about our personal brand? How do we present ourselves to the world in a way that attracts the right opportunities and positions us for success? Well, Mashkich has some really practical advice on this front as well. He suggests starting with like a personal brand audit. Google yourself, ask for feedback from colleagues, evaluate your online presence, get a clear picture of how others perceive you and what your, strengths and weaknesses are.
But he also emphasizes the importance of authenticity. Don't try to be someone you're not. People can spot a fake a mile away. So instead, be genuine, be vulnerable, be you are. Share your story, your struggles, your lessons learned. That's what makes you relatable. That's what builds trust. And once you've defined your personal brand, how do you actually build authority in your field? Marmashik is a big advocate for writing a book, but he also acknowledges that it's not for everyone. So he offers some alternative strategies like creating content online, teaching others, and leveraging testimonials from, satisfied clients or colleagues. The key is to consistently produce valuable content that demonstrates your expertise and builds trust with your audience. And here's a truth bomb for the digital age. If you don't have online presence, you practically don't exist. So build a following, share your unique perspective, your insights, what Mashik calls your personal proverbs. And speaking of social proof, don't underestimate the power of testimonials. They validate your expertise, showcase your results, and make people more likely to, trust you and your recommendations.
Now, we've covered a lot of ground, but there's one more crucial element to success that we need to talk about, and that is relationships. Majicic argues that, the true success formula is actually 80% relational and only 20% technical. And, he's got a point. No matter how skilled or knowledgeable you are, if you can't build strong connections with people, you're going to hit a ceiling. Think about it. People hold the keys to the next chapter of your journey. They open doors, offer guidance, and create opportunities that you wouldn't have access to otherwise. So how do we nurture those relationships, especially in the world of Scrum? Majcic is a big believer in attending, agile meetups, conferences, workshops, but he emphasizes that just showing up isn't enough. You need to be intentional about engaging with people, asking thoughtful questions, following up afterwards. So, here's a tip. Prepare a few questions beforehand that spark deeper conversations. Instead of the usual, small talk, try something like, what challenges have you faced as a Scrum Master and how did you overcome them? And don't forget to follow up. Send a personalized message referencing something specific from your conversation. It shows you were paying attention and genuinely care about building that relationship. But what about, after the event is over? That's where online communities come in. So LinkedIn groups, Facebook groups, Slack communities, these are gold mines for connecting with, fellow Scrum enthusiasts, sharing insights, asking questions, finding mentors. But again, don't just lurk. Be an active participant, share your experiences, offer solutions, ask thought-provoking questions. The more you contribute, the more you'll stand out and attract valuable connections. And don't be afraid to seek mentorship. Find someone whose career inspires you and, respectfully ask for guidance. You'd be surprised how many successful people are happy to help those who are genuinely eager to learn. But here's a powerful thought. Consider becoming a mentor yourself. Helping others is a fantastic way to deepen your understanding, solidify your knowledge, and build goodwill. Remember, it's not about using people. It's about lifting others as you rise.
So by taking these steps, you'll turn, passive participation into active relationship building. And trust me, those relationships will pay dividends throughout your career. Okay, so we've talked about building a strong personal brand and nurturing valuable relationships. But how do you make sure that you're choosing the right opportunities in the first place? That's where due diligence comes in. And not just in a legal sense, but really digging deep to make sure a role or skill set is both achievable and valuable for you. And Majcic breaks this down to two types: technical diligence and relational diligence. So technical diligence is all about feasibility. Can you realistically succeed in this role with your current skills? What knowledge gaps do you need to fill? Are there training programs or mentors available to help you get there? And how much time and effort will it realistically take to, master the necessary skills? Like, don't try to run a marathon if you haven't even trained for a 5K yet. You need to be honest with yourself about your current capabilities and the resources that are available to help you grow. But it's not just about whether you can do it.
It's also about whether you should do it. And that's where relational diligence comes in. This is about making sure the opportunity actually aligns with, your passions, your purpose, and your long-term career aspirations. So Machik suggests, asking yourself some tough questions like, does this role connect with, my personal mission? Will it help me grow in the direction I want to go? Does it actually excite me? Or am I just chasing a paycheck? He even suggests thinking about like how a specific role fits into your larger career map. Will it set you up for leadership positions down the line? Will it help you build the connections and expertise you need to, break into that top 10%? And here's the cool part. Relational diligence isn't just about, personal fulfillment. It's also about aligning your personal goals with the goals of the organization. Because when you find that sweet spot where your passions intersect with the company's needs, you're more likely to succeed and you're more likely to create, a win-win situation for everyone involved. So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We've talked about purpose, uncovering your talents, the hierarchy of value, mastering the language of your next level, building your personal brand, the power of relationships, and even conducting due diligence to make sure you're choosing the right opportunities. That's a lot to digest, but hopefully you're starting to see that a Scrum career can be more than just a job. It can be a path to purpose, impact, and maybe even a little bit of, as Majikis puts it, divine intervention. But here's the thing, knowing this stuff is only half the battle. Now it's time to take action. So what resonated with you the most? Which of the I's or the A's are calling out to you? What's one step you can take today to start moving in the direction of your Scrum dreams? Maybe it's updating your LinkedIn profile, reaching out to a potential mentor, or checking out Dejan Majikic's Agile and Scrum Bundle program. We've included a link to that in the episode description. It could be the perfect next step to turn your vision into a reality. So don't wait for permission or, like the perfect moment, start creating your own opportunities. Your Scrum journey starts now.
All right, so we've covered a lot of kind of like high-level stuff. Let's get practical. Like, what does it actually take to be in that top 10% in Scrum, where you've got the impact and you're feeling good about it? Maiske gets into the nitty-gritty here, and it's not just about knowing Scrum like the back of your hand. He calls it prophetic preparation, which, okay, sounds a bit much, but it basically means looking ahead, seeing what's coming, and making sure you're ready for it. He gives this example of Joseph in the Bible, how he knew a famine was coming, so he prepped Egypt, saved a ton of people. Now, we're not talking about an actual famine here, but the idea is the same. Like, what are the famines, or you could say, opportunities coming in your field, and how do you get ready? Maiske breaks it down into 4 skills, and I gotta say, this applies to more than just Scrum. This is for, like, any wide career. First up, interpersonal skills. It's all about you mastering yourself, emotions, mindset, how you handle pressure. This is where resilience comes in, bouncing back when things go wrong. Because let's be real, in any career, stuff happens.
You got to have that inner strength to lead when it's tough, not just when it's easy. Then, interpersonal skills. This is how you are with other people. Communication, dealing with conflict, building those relationships so everyone works well together. Scrum Master, product owner, doesn't matter, this is huge GE. A team that vibes well to get stuff done. Third, commercial skills. Now, even if you're not in sales, you got to get the business side. Finances, how the market works, making decisions that actually make a difference for the company, and seeing how your role fits into the whole bigger goal of the organization. And last but not least, the technical skills. No shocker there, you got to know your Scrum stuff inside and out. But the thing is, you got to keep learning. New tools, new tech, it never ends. Majikic's point is, nobody's going to babysit you on this. You got to put in the work. Courses, reading, experimenting. Nobody else is going to build your career for you. Now, remember all that talk about personal branding. Majikich takes it up a notch, talking about building authority in your field. He's got this saying, authority starts with author. He loves the book writing route, but gets that it's not for everyone.
So what else can you do? Online content is massive articles, videos, whatever you're into. Teaching is another good one. Really solidifies what you know, and people see you as the expert. Oh, and testimonials, those little gold nuggets where people are like, yeah, this person knows their stuff. Social proof, it's powerful. But honestly, nowadays, if you're not online, it's like you don't even exist. Got to build that following, share your unique take on things, your insights. Majikich calls them personal proverbs, like little bits of wisdom that are so you. I know this is a lot, but here's what's stuck with me, see. Don't try to do everything perfectly right this second, just one step at a time. Update that LinkedIn, sign up for that course, something. Speaking of which, if you're ready to level up in Scrum, Dejan Majikic's Agile and Scrum Bundle program is awesome. Links in the episode description. So, is Scrum the right career for you? That's your call. But hopefully, this deep dive gave you a better picture of what it can be. The good, the tough, and the rewards. Remember, this ain't just a job, it's a journey. And every journey starts with that first step. So what are you waiting for? Take that step. Your future is waiting. Go create it.